G'day guys and welcome to a quick preview of Rosehill for the 20th of May. Rail out 3 metres and looks like we're going to get at least a soft track. The weather's been pretty good lately, so may not get to the heavy range, but wouldn't be surprised if it played somewhere around the 7 or 8 mark. So definitely solidly rain affected. Pretty tough program, pretty big program, so I'll get stuck into it. Race 1's for the 2-year-old open class. Pretty hard to line these up, I found. Viridine came out of this race last start that ipso facto and it sort of both came out of. Very soft tempo here, but they didn't really sprint home in a really low race quality time-wise, so it's very difficult to work this one out. If I thought maybe this horse here, I think it was Blonde Intuition or something similar, was really disappointing and obviously had an issue, and it kind of unravelled the whole race for me. Didn't do a whole lot. Viridine gets up the really soft run. Ipso Facto's out there 3 wide, but again on a really slow tempo. And nothing else really ran on, so I can't work this race out. If you're treating it as a barrier trial, maybe you could forgive a couple of the runners and say, you know, that Viridine and Ipso Facto can improve here. They probably need to, but it is difficult to find the real danger. So Viridine's in behind, Ipso Facto's 3 wide. Viridine gets held up for quite a bit here, has to pull around heels and eventually gets out. Ipso Facto's obviously been in clear running but wide throughout first up. And then the others are all kind of in a line behind, so tough to work that race out, but it just really tentative to be too positive about the runners that come out of that race. Adsom's come off one trial, pretty solid, slowish time, but did look to be bolting. Straight to the races here, 1200 on a soft track first start for a 2-year-old. Not easy to do. Connoisseur led all the way in slow time, thought it was pretty weak, and I'm betting around it. Silence is a bit of a funny horse. Went 900 first start, straight to 11. Had its chance, obviously, but been a little bit weak late there. Back to the trial since, and didn't look great to the eye for a horse that's, you know, already up fit and running. Nothing against it. It was a quiet trial, but it didn't really catch the eye. Now to 1200 is not an easy task, but especially from an awkward gate, but does look to be going okay. Pendleek, similar sort of 2,000 metre runs, good win its first start, last start. Thought it had its chance in an average sort of event. Hard to come into it. 5 weeks between runs up to 1200. Allied Power comes off that Gosford runner. If you forgive the first up run, if you forgot the Kembla run, I'd nearly have it favourite here off that Gosford effort. They did run along, but it really hit the line powerfully in good time. Its runs last prep were okay. It's obviously come back better. I was just that first up run sticking in my mind a bit, but up to 1200 possibly can still be improving, and around the $8 mark can't knock it even from an inside gate this time. Charlie Chap's probably the horse I've settled on, which is the bottom horse here. It's had the best setup for mine. It's gone 1,000 metre good win at Orange. Surprisingly solid form for Orange, even though it was breaking its maiden in an open. Came to town and got beaten in similar fashion to Silence, but was back on the fence there. Then went up from 11 to 1,300 and beat narrowly in again, just an average sort of 2-year-old quality at Hawkesbury, but now drops back to 1,200. Gets probably a positive rider change and is definitely hard fit and has handled the going okay 2 starts back over the 1,100 metres. So it does look probably the one, a race I'm really hesitant to chime into. I definitely can't get excited about Viridine at 2-1. It probably is a deserving favourite, but that form just got a huge question mark over it. I'm scared of the first start. I thought actually Alec trialled okay at 50s and probably could entertain backing it with its trial preparation and the blinkers going on before I could back Adsom. Silence and Allied Power, I can probably entertain Allied Power a little bit more But it's, again, I'm just sort of going around in circles with this race. I could have something on Charlie Chap at the $11, and I could possibly have something on Allied Power at the $8, and that'd be it in a really tough little opener. Race 2. This is an interesting race. We've got White Moss coming off 3 straight wins. Possibly finds the front again here, but it wouldn't surprise me. Like Samadou, Passage Time, Kick Up, and even Gretna from Gate 1, who does look to be a better horse when she leads. Gretna comes up quite a short price favourite. I couldn't really work that out, and is the horse that I'm probably looking to risk here. 4 weeks between runs inside gate, doubting it gets the front. Even if it does, it'll probably see pressure, so I'd be betting around it. I think probably Passage of Time and White Moss will roll forward and could control the tempo. Samadou's an interesting one there. It might come across with White Moss and end up with a 1-out position, which could be ideal for it. Passage of Time's the one I want to find. Just concerned 2-1 losing the senior rider, but I thought it was, deep into its first prep, now striking this sort of softish surface again up in distance. May test it out, but definitely a winning chance. I think White Moss is very underrated and continues to go through the grades and possibly the one to beat again. Samadou went really well first up, like the way it fought back, and can't knock it around the 10-1 mark. And I'm concerned about quick feet at 1400 metres on a soft track at this stage with an apprentice aboard. So not much between White Moss, Passage of Time with Samadou third pick. Thinking, if you're getting the better value about, it's probably the best way to go there. But again, not a race I'm diving into. Can't see any huge overs. Possibly throwing Fleeting Strike into All Exotics as well. 3 winners coming out of its last race already. It is definitely up in grade, but could get a soft run and battle away here with the apprentice on. So another tricky race, race 2. Race 3. When the first market came out, I expected to see this horse, New Universe, come up kind of odds on and maybe ease out because it was coming back in distance. You'll see it was noticeably restrained over the 1200 metres its first start, heavily backed, brought to the outside, and Kawakini, who's also in this race, is the horse inside it, out wide here in the coil colours. Took a while to wind up this New Universe, but hard to be anything but impressed. We'll get a little pointer to Passage of Time from last race to see how this form stacks up, but I'm not too concerned the way this horse runs through the line. That little bit of wet track will probably offset the 100 metres back in distance, and if they go along at even speed here, I'd say that New Universe is obviously the one to hold out again. Second pick, I think Kawakini's probably not as well suited as New Universe coming back in distance. I'd say that I'd rather have something on memes at around the $7 mark before I'd be thinking that Kawakini was the danger at the $5 mark. I think if something runs on, it'll be New Universe. Kawakini may be the bridesmaid again. Good Time Charlie might be forced to press forward and can run a cheeky race there if they control the tempo to their liking, those 2 leaders. And then it's tough to find another winning hope outside of them. Once more, Lady is open to improvement if you forgive that Scone effort, and Vienna Romance was poorly ridden first up and can improve into a placing, but I do think that either Memes will control the tempo in front and Good Time Charlie may fight it out, or New Universe will just simply run over the top of them. I'd expect it to firm. I think it's about $2.40. And if it does blow, I'd definitely be betting around it. If it gets out sort of past the $2.50 out towards $3 mark late, I'd be taking notice of that and probably backing Good Time Charlie and Memes to beat it. Definitely Memes. 1100 metres around here with a soft lead she can definitely give them something to chase. She's definitely flying this prep. Race 4, the Highway. Hey Now comes up short price favourite here. Don't really understand that too much. Has come back well, but has had things to suit at both starts and not really exactly run time or done anything to say you want to be following it up in grade. This is definitely more difficult. Gets out to 1500 metres for the first time. Has won on a soft track over 12 in a maiden, but this is obviously tougher and will only make this job tougher. The Apprentice sticks and does drop in weight somewhat, but may be tested at this level. Does look to get up into a good position in the first 4 or 5 pretty easily, and will battle away, but I just think that the $4 is pretty short. Red Knot further up in the weights does look the one that probably wants to lead. Went a little bit slow for my liking in front last start and can improve. The horse that I can't understand why it's not favoured is this horse Schedule. They've worked out that it needs its runs spaced a little bit, and I'm happy that it's had 4 weeks off following the soft track or heavy track win at Randwick last start. They did go pretty quick here, which did help, but he was noticed, I believe, restrained out the back here. Source comes back on him and basically forces him back a little bit even further. He makes his run nice and early, and second widest runner here, sustains that right to the line. Maybe getting tired a little bit late, but has put the race away well and truly by the 200 metre mark. And that's a heavy 1400 metre win at Randwick, which I would imagine is going to be anywhere near as difficult here over 1500 even. I think that track was pretty soft, and this horse, I'd be very, very surprised if it doesn't start favourite, considering there may be a bit of pressure around. Attainment's an interesting horse coming up from the Canberra area. It was poorly ridden last start. 3 1200 metre runs this time in. Gets out to a more suitable 1500 metre trip, I would imagine. Bit of a shame the same rider there. Forever New York's going better than its form suggests. Comes back in distance, which I like its setup for this race, and it will be strong. It's probably my second choice on an each-way basis. Oh Lordy suited up in to this 1500 metres, just really needs to improve, I would say. And then maybe Dalmatia Prince coming back in grades next pick, but I've got Schedule clearly on top here. Very hard to find a clear second pick, probably Red Knot, and then out to Oh Lordy, Forever New York, Hey Now on the third line, but not much between the 4 of those, throwing Red Knot into that. I think they're the 5 main chances, but Schedule clearly on top in the Highway should be strongest, and don't think the wide gate's going to be any disadvantage, just needs a little bit of even luck in the run. Race 5, 1100 metre race. Plenty of speed here, plenty of pressure, nothing that wants to run on especially. Nothing that looks ideally set up, nothing that looks like a wet track's ideal over this distance in this particular race. I came back to Dissolute, thought it was a pretty poor ride last start, wasn't given its chance. Lugging bit goes back on, and hopefully the solid tempo here, if you can get off the bit and relaxing early, it can be the one that can finish off. Again, hard to find a real threat. I thought LA Cheval went okay first up and definitely can improve. Soft's fine, and Alpen Rose is hard fit. You can forgive that last start where it got back and a bit lost. 45 days between runs coming into that. The wet's a big positive, and around the $14 mark, $17 sorry, with UBet, and $15 for LA Cheval. They could be the dangers to Dissolute, who's currently around the $8 mark. So I'll be playing the 3 of those for winners, and I'm actually not too disappointed with that play. I think they're definitely the 3 clearly best suited runners by the conditions of the day and the stage in preparation they're at. Race 6. Now this is a hard race. You've got the runners in the betting. Well, it's $5 the field. There's a lot of runners between $5 and $8. Careless Choice is an interesting favourite. 21 days between runs, going from 1,400 to 2,000 metres. Never been past a mile in its career. And now goes to 2,000 metres for the first time on a rain-affected surface. Very hard to figure out why it's been heavily back from $13 into $5. I'd say that bounces back to a longer price come race time. I think the correct form line's the Nothing Box, which is also went up around the $10 mark, and Red Dubawi Be Like Dad form line. It's the one I want to be with. I think it's got a little bit more upside than some of them. And Nothing Box, even though it was very well ridden last start, is going exceptionally well. Be Like Dad is better for that run, loves the wet, and can run a race around the $14 mark. Broadside's interesting, comes from a different form line. Probably peaks now, 2,000 metres is a plus. Maybe it's just an issue whether it needs one more. Montauk should be ready now after coming back from a little break and having 2 runs. Coming back in grade here is ideal. And then we have Mortar Platoon, who was a winner, or narrowly beaten, sorry, off a slow tempo last start. Just a matter of whether it runs a genuine 2,000. And then down to, obviously, Red Dubawi, who's got the same form lines as Nothing Box, can run well. A race I've sort of got at 550 the field with Nothing Box favourite from Montauk, Be Like Dad, Broadside, then out to Mortar Platoon and Red Dubawi, Careless Choice, My Psychiatrist. No real confidence here, but as it's the first leg of the quaddie, I'll probably be throwing a few in, definitely throwing in Montauk, Be Like Dad, Broadside, Nothing Box, and could go a little bit wider with the likes of Red Dubawi. Tough race. Race 7. This is probably my most interesting race for the day. Thought there weren't too many well set up, and I just wanted to highlight the run of a couple of runners here. Very Delicious was coming back off a bleeding attack and was first up here over the 1350. Just noticed that it looked a bit lost early, got back last behind them. Didn't really want to chase coming to the turn. Was a slow tempo up front in the field. It was kind of off and gone by the time she wound up, but I really liked her last 100 and 150, 200 metres here where she closed hard. She gets out to 1,500 metres, which is fine for her, second up off the back of 2 trials, a 9 and 1,200 metre trial. She had a couple of weeks as well after the 1,200 to be ready for that, so she should be fine, 1,500 second up. Loves the wet track and should be ready to go this time around. Also should get a very solid tempo from the likes of Moa, Careless. Believe could get close with the blinkers first time, and Foreign Prince possibly rolls forward first up, but he's off a decent break, coming back well in distance. I thought Believe was the other strong improver. Third up, Blinkers Tongue Tie. Really appreciate that move from this stable. Obviously think it's ready to go now off to confidence building, fitness building runs. Draws ideally to position up just behind the leaders and run a really positive race. Definitely having these 2 go-round winners for me around the $13 mark, Believe and Very Delicious. Next pick would probably be Moa, who will be in the right position, drops back from group grade from these Going Cup, Hawkesbury Cups, and fitter. Panya doesn't suit too badly on this sort of style of horse and can run well. And Kellyville Flyer, if you forget that last run, is obviously a possible improver. Where it gets to from the gate with that rider aboard is an issue, but you should be getting sort of $15 plus to compensate for that. Allegria 7 weeks between runs minus 900 metres back on a soft track can be okay, but once again the rider is a bit of an issue, and where it gets to may give too big a start. But pretty keen on Very Delicious and Believe here, and maybe saving on Moa just because it's the one that's going to be up on the speed, while the other two will give a little bit of a start, especially Very Delicious. Race 8, and this is possibly the race of Bonnie O'Reilly, or who knows. There are a few suited okay, but Bonnie O'Reilly probably does look the most promising, does look to get a right enough run, and if it can run out a solid 1200 on a softish track second up, it does look the one to beat. Noble Joey 6 weeks between runs, back to 1200, loves the soft, rolls forward. I thought Paint went very well first up, and is another one that's probably forced forward from a white gate. There does look a bit of pressure here, and it's all about that pressure level to how well those two runners run. Guard of Honour is an interesting horse, 4 weeks between runs. Winker's coming back down from Brisbane. It ran second to Man from Uncle in a similar race with a similar setup last time, and that's good form for this. And Final Decision, the horse that was never tested first up, I really think, from the Flying Stable at 40 or 50 to 1, 70 to 1 at the moment, if it's in the field, it's definitely worth having something on. So Bonnie O'Reilly's short enough for mine, 2 to 1, is the horse to beat, but well found. Noble Joey can run well. The horse I missed before, Paint can run well. Reincarnate's had 3 trials. Inside gate probably needed for a soft run here with the apprentice aboard. Can run a cheeky race. Missed that in the rundown before. And Final Decision, $71. Very interesting horse for mine. 15 to 1 the place is going to be huge odds for a horse of its ability. Lucky Last doesn't get any easier, unfortunately. Mare's race here, 1400 metres. I'm taken by the way Wang Wa's come back. I'll just show the quick replay here of what it did to a field 1400 metre mares race midweek. It's back last year, absolutely walking tempo, they rip home, and this horse just produced to the outside and rounds them up like they're not there. These horses are at a little bit softer level than the ones today, but look at the way she extends and really gets through that line. I think she's come back a better horse that she always showed she probably was, but last preparation wasn't ideal for her. She's beaten in much easier races around places like Tamworth, but she seems back on track now and going exceptionally well, like most runners in the stable. And I think $11 is a big price for it, even with the rider change. Next pick in the race is probably Dagny. If you forgive that last start, the blinkers back on. The betting said there was something wrong there, and if the betting's solid come late here, definitely entertain its chances. Moran's going very well, up to 1400 metres for the first time. It's interesting, but I think it's back on track as well, and a horse on the up. Anisha's got conditions to suit. Is a strange horse and one that's difficult to follow, but will be coming at some point late here and is racing very well this preparation. And Knit and Pearl's next, probably fit wet, is a positive, and 1400 is the only little query, a strong 1400. So quite keen on Wang Wa, thinking $11 is a huge price. Dagny next pick, $5 is probably around its right price, and hopefully gets out a tick from that. $8 Marama about right as well, nothing much in that price. And then Anisha about the $14 mark maybe. Probably its price too. So I think Wang Wa is the clear value in the last. So that's a quick look at the meeting. It's not too easy. Scratchings in the morning will be interesting, and I'll send out my sheets as soon as I get everything updated and through in the morning. Thanks guys, and good luck.